Hi everyone, so if you've always struggled with converting or moving from design and prototypes into real-world working code, well, in this video tutorial we will speak about and we're just going to go like step by step into converting a fully working prototype from Figma into a real-world React application. So steps needed in here, actually I'm going to be using something called Anima, which is actually a prototyping tool, and it does allow us to pretty much just move on from our Anima designs and prototype from Anima exactly to the way we want it into real world React components, or even you can use them with HTML. Of course, all the styles, all the CSS and everything you would need are actually auto-generated for you. So all you need to do is just copy these components and make them fit together in your application. So in this video, just go ahead and clearly see this is actually a really cool design. It's called the Miss Cupcake. And we'll probably just go ahead and take this design. It has actually multiple like aspect ratio, so it is fully responsive. So there's like a desktop version of the design, there's the tablet version of the design, and there's as well the mobile version of the design. So we've got all of these, like the three different aspects or the three different designs in here, and I'm just going to move from this particular design into like a prototype, like a real world working prototype from Figma, and of course we're going to generate a real world working React code. So yeah, this is actually clearly seen here. So the design is pretty simple, pretty straight to the point in here. Clearly see just like a cupcake e-commerce store where you just like sell cupcakes, like a local store for selling cupcakes, with videos working in the background. There's also maps working. So all of these are actually going to be content that we're going to be just automate and make them work right off the bat. So all of these are going to actually work, as well as like the video included in here as well, alongside some cool animation. So for this like cupcake image in here, you will see like an animation. Once the page loads up, this animation is going to just like work right off the bat. So all of these actually happens right here from Figma. I'm just going to use the Anima tool in here to really see. So this is the Anima application. So yeah, if we just like scroll the way up, we got design, development, unite that list. So yeah, you can just dig deeper and read more about what is Anima. But the main point about here is actually turning a design into a project and generating React code. So the React actually version, or the React feature for generating React components, has been recently released. So yeah, you got the point in there. Still currently a new feature, but still worth trying, worth working with. So you can go and start free and you create your project and you can get started here. And the other thing you would need pretty much is actually install an Anima plugin, because it is widely needed to get started with Figma. Otherwise we won't be able to get started. So you have to install the Anima plugin. You can just go grab it after creating an account in here. It's just gonna find the link to download this, or you can just head out into the Figma plugin store and to find Anima, and then you can use it. So make sure to create an account first, because it needs the authentication in order to make things work in the right way. So here we got plugins. Clearly see we got Anima. So once we click on that plugin, we're gonna get the Anima plugin right off the bat. I already did the login thing of the authentication. So here the first thing we just see is actually what project is going to be syncing in. Here I got personal cupcake, or like what Anima project going to be syncing that into. You can create a new project, or you can choose one from these, which I already created right here. And here is actually some options that you need to be covering for that to be working. So let's go ahead and first, let's see what we can do with these like desktop, laptop, or pretty much tablet and mobile designs, and how can we unite them. So clearly here it's already detecting the breakpoints. If I choose this frame, this particular homepage frame, and make sure to like put all of your designs inside of frames in order to be able to manipulate them easily, and in order to allow Anima to recognize this. So here we got homepage mobile, which is like 375 pixels, and we got 960 pixels for the homepage and tablets. And last but not least, we got homepage 1440. So yeah, those actually are breakpoint links, which means that if we change like the width from 1440 to 960 in the responsiveness manner, yeah, the responsiveness is going to work, and it's just like the design going to be automatically changed for us throughout this. So you can just go ahead and link the breakpoints in here just by choosing this. For example, you want to link this like homepage frame with something like let's see, where is the tablet? So you have to select both of these. Just select it with this, and as well just like select it with the mobile frame, and just go ahead and like you can do an edit here. I can, as clearly see, I already just selected homepage, mobile, and tablet. Click done, and there you go. So we got all the breakpoints to get started. And you can also select like a single frame and make sure it is set as a homepage. Otherwise, it won't set the default homepage. So make sure to set that in order to tell Anima that this is actually the first homepage that we're going to be landing on. And there's also a couple of other different options from smart layers. So you can add hover effects to work with that, entrance animation, which means it gets played once you enter. You can also add a video, GIF, or a lottery. So if I select this, clearly see there's already a video playing in here. Click edit, and there's actually autoplay. So you give it like which URL this video is going to be playing from, and you give it like autoplay, so it automatically gets played. Let me just zoom in here, you can see. So this is actually the video you can loop through. There's no controls, and cover, so fill the most of the page. Pretty cool. It's pretty simple to actually go ahead and like make the video playable on Anima. Just throw out these settings, and it just like is super easy. And of course you can upload your own video file if you would like to, or you can play it from a URL. But if we go back here, if we just going to select this map thing, we got an embedded code, and of course you can embed a custom code as well. So if you select that, we got like an iframe being embedded. So you can go ahead into like Google Maps and grab throughout your API, grab the iframe, and you can just select it and paste it in here. You can even paste other code, like a real website code with something like Google Analytics. I don't know, something that you pretty much need to embed into your web page, like you would do with something like a website builder like Wix or Sandbox or something like that. So yeah, the same thing in here. It works like a Charmin, and it can be easily embedded. Of course, with the text input as well, you can make sure that you add some text input. So if it selects, for example, so you got this actually text input. Let me just see, where is it? So I think, yeah, there you go. So we got this actually the text input, and yeah, you select like this is a text type, and a placeholder, what gets placed out in here as a placeholder. You can mark it as required, which means it has to be filled, and you can do a different form options in here, and you can create full forms just throughout this from this single Anima plugin. So yeah, it makes things way much faster and way much easier. So after finishing this, after just putting all the designs together, after just like putting all the options together, what you can definitely do later on is actually go ahead and do a preview in the browser. So this preview in the browser, what it does, just gonna like go ahead and process all of your like designs and everything from that, and just like it takes it into the Anima application. So you're gonna find a dashboard, and you can start prototyping there. But there's one thing to notice before doing this, because Anima won't let you actually link between designs, because it already reads the prototypes from Figma. So at that point, what we can do is go ahead and add or edit the prototype right into our Figma. So let me just go ahead and zoom out real quick in here, and where is the homepage? So here is actually the homepage real quick, and we can go ahead into the actual prototype section. So for seeing prototype, if we select pretty much, this is actually the homepage. So clearly see all of these are actually prototypes, and prototype links like this homepage. If we click first navigation bar, which is going to take us to our story. So you do like interaction details on click, navigate to our story, and the animation is actually instant. You can change that too, and you can play with all of these and make sure to work with your prototypes. So the main point in here is actually you have to do both the design and the prototype in Figma. It also supports stuff like Sketch and XD or Adobe XD, so you can use those too. But here I prefer to use Figma. It's much better and much easier to integrate it with. So straight to the point. And for the prototypes, as I said before, you make sure to add all the prototypes. Clearly seen here, it's fully added with all of different prototypes, and just like make sure it works like a real world application. And make sure to select like what frame. So it's the entrance frame or the beginner frame, and just like everything's going to be working as charming as it could be. So for example, let's try to go ahead and play the prototype using Figma present feature, and yeah, we got this actually cool presentation, so everything looks pretty great. If we try to go and try to actually click something like our story in here, so yeah, the prototype works pretty fine. So make sure to, like, all of your prototypes works the best way. I don't know, for some reason the video is not playing, it kind of like there is something wrong with the connection or something. But anyhow, so yeah, as clear to see the map in here still not works fully. So you have to move it into Anima in order to make the actual iframe, the embedded code you've embedded, works right into the web page. So actually, this is actually the best part about Anima that I like, and it's going to make everything look pretty much fine. Now, since our prototypes are looking pretty great so far, so yeah, we can just get rid of them. And yeah, make sure it's all the options in here. So whenever you find, if you want, for example, something like interest animations, clearly in here, you can go in and edit that. And like, you can move it right, move it or rotate it up, blur it with an effect, and you can just give it all the different options you can do with animation, like the delay, and you can even edit the custom CSS of it. So yeah, you can have all of these working right here with the different animations right from the bat from pretty much the Anima plugin in here. So yeah, you can have all the different stuff in here, all different effects. So after just fixing every single piece of your design and make sure all the prototype is pretty much working the way you expect it to be, now it's actually the time to go ahead and preview in the browsers, not exporting code, because it's going to directly export some HTML code, which we don't need it. We want a React code. So yeah, you can go ahead and preview this in the browser. So just click preview in the browser and it starts immediately processing the designs. And clearly seeing here, I've got it being processed into the cupcake inside of like Anima personal and / cupcake. So it's uploading all the files and it just like makes all the processing stuff. So yeah, you can just pretty much wait for this and it's just gonna do all the job for it. And pretty cool. So I already did that. So if you can just jump into my projects.animaapp.com. So this is actually the dashboard where you find all of your projects and everything else regarding that. So here's actually the project you're going to be working on, which is, submitted from the Figma file that we have processed a little bit. And there you go. So we got here all frames, which means each frame represents a single page. And we got all the frames right here. So it's actually the home page. If you try to view the screen of the home page, pretty much here we got the Anima dashboard. So we got, like, for example, Miss Cupcake, and we got you can shop now. We got the image, all the different images being exported, right? So we get designs in here. So everything pretty much looking absolutely the same as our Figma design. So there is definitely no change in here. So if you take a look, let me just move on back into the design section, and yeah, so there is pretty much no changes. The design is being exported the same way. Yeah, everything looking pretty great so far. And also if we try to go with some responsiveness, so if you try to go tablet, yeah, the tablet's responsive design still works fine. So yeah, everything seems sweet. If you go with mobile, so 375 pixels, yeah, pretty great. So the mobile design as well, looking so far so good. And yeah, I don't find any issues with the design. So make sure to double check your designs before submitting them. And yeah, we got everything looking here absolutely fine. You can even choose the responsive mode, and you can pretty much go fully responsive, just like moving around between the different stuff. And by the way, you can add more presets. So if you add like a laptop preset or an extra large desktop preset, all of them going to be appearing here. So just make sure to add them in your Figma designs and link them throughout the Anima plugin. And yeah, you can have all of different stuff in here. So the prototypes and everything working absolutely fine. Security in here, still the prototype works with this hover effect and everything else. So this is all being done behind the scenes from there. So far so good, looking absolutely amazing. So if you click that as well, one mistake. Yeah. So we got everything looking so far so good with the play mode right here. And yeah, let's try to go back to the shop. So this is actually currently the home page that we're going to be working on. And here for the cards, it also works with the hover effects and with the pop-up or the pop-over effect. You can have pop-overs too throughout this, so you can go to the checkout and stuff like that. But nevertheless, let's go back to the shop. Now, the most important part of this video is actually how we can export code. It's pretty simple using Anima, to be honest. So all you have to do is just go ahead into the code section, and you're gonna have this like code section kind of thingy, which pretty much gonna allow us to export code either throughout into an HTML code, or you can select React, which is what we want. And here you can go ahead into the settings that you can change what syntax you prefer, like functions or classes, like functional components or legacy classes for React. I would just leave it as functions. And yeah, that should do the job perfectly right now, without further ado. So you can also go ahead and view that, or like view the full design in here using CodePen. It just does the auto generation automatically for you, which is pretty great. Now, how we can explore this? Just by selecting each element. For example, we can go ahead and select this image in here. It just like takes a little bit and it grabs us the fully generated code in here, like function app, and this is actually the image, and it gives you the URL. And it's clearly seen here, Anima uses Amazon S3 buckets for uploading their assets, which is pretty good. So you've got all of your assets being backed up into the Anima storage. So all you've got to do is just point to the URL and you got the image or whatever assets you would like to right off the bat. And yeah, so you get different components, like multiple components, and with the fully compatible components, like it's already split it up for you. So you got, here's actually a functional component for the image, and here's the main application where you render the actual image throughout pretty much the application. And you got the imports you need, the exports, pretty good. So far, yeah, it looks amazing so far. So now we got this actually image. What we want, we got the full web page. So to do so, I'm going to select like the full div, and just by selecting like the full div, which means all the elements in here, all the nested elements, all the images, text, and everything. Just selecting that, it might take a little bit of time. And there you go. So this is actually the fully generated code for all of the components. Yeah, so clearly see all the styles. So let me just make that goes a little bit bigger. And there you go. So it's actually the full home page, but only for the desktop. So far, this is actually only desktop implementation. So if you select that, and we can go ahead and select this again. We go with the div. Let me just do this again. So only just make sure to select the desktop real quick and select the div here. So to be able to select the full home page and get the full design code. So yeah, it might take a little bit of time. Just waiting for it. So there you go. So we got here, so only for the desktop. And if you want like the tablet and the mobile, well, you've got to just export all of these and make sure to combine them together using some logic, to get things rendered. But yeah, it's not the best implementation, to be honest, because there's some like props that are missing. Some props are not maintainable. The names aren't that great. So when it comes to naming some props here and there, well, yeah, it's not the great naming. It's not meant so much for maintainability, but well, so far so good. It does a good job when it just like, it just exports all of that with a CSS style. So all you've got to do is just copy paste it. And since you want something real quick to do and move on from design into development in no time, well, Anima will do perfectly the job for you in that particular case. So here we can do pretty much is actually copy the pretty much the code we want in here, the React code, and we can go into a project. So I've already created a simple project using Create React App, and this is actually the application. So all I need to do is let me just remove all of that, and I can paste this in here. So we can have like, just go ahead and save the image, or pretty much the code here, so it's not the image. And yeah, there you go. So we got all the code in here. And for Create React App, make sure to go ahead and install Node Sass, because if you noticed here in CSS section, it uses Sass. So you make sure to use or to install Sass in order to make the pre-compilation possible from the Create React and So yeah, you make sure to do so. So just go ahead and do like node Css and yarn, or just add, not start. So yarn add node Css, and all the things will be working as charming for you. So let's go ahead and do like, I'm going to create style.scss and go back here, and I'm just going to copy all the CSS code, just paste it in. Where is that? So you can go and paste that in, and make sure to import the CSS in here, otherwise it won't work. So I can do style.scss. Now let's go ahead and run the actual application. So just yarn start, and there you go. So the server has been started, and we already got some issue in here. So the code generation doesn't actually do a perfect job. So I have to remove this export default because we're already exporting the application. But yeah, nevertheless, just remove this export default and you got things right into the point. So let me just see the React application, refresh it again, and there you go. So we got the design fully working for us without any issues. So here's in here for the desktop version. It pretty much works as smooth as possible with all the images, and here we got the homepage with all like add to carts and everything else we would like to. But this is only for desktop. So if we try to go and try to do some responsiveness to this, let's try to inspect it real quick. We go with the mobile view, and there you go. So if you choose like iPhone X, it's not doing any responsiveness whatsoever. So this is kind of a problematic, because here Anima doesn't actually do the full export of all that responsiveness and does all the logic. No, it only exports it for this particular, just like the particular design that is currently playing out, like for desktop or tablet or mobile. So if we just toggle it with mobile real quick, and we select everything up again. So if we go back up, all the way up, so where is this? Let me just choose. So I can pretty much go ahead and select the full designs in here in order to get everything else. So here's in here we got a completely different component. So we got X1 homepage mobile, and this component is particularly specific for only rendering components. And how we can make that possible from our end? So to use this, we can use a package called React Responsive. So this package allows us to detect using media queries, of course, like Css Media Queries, and tell whether or not it is actually currently a mobile device screen, or a desktop screen, or a tablet screen, and so on and so forth. So yeah, using Css Media Queries, we can do that, and we can re-render everything out throughout our functional components. So let's go ahead and install this real quick. So we got this actually the node. I'm just gonna get back in here. So I'm gonna just do yarn add and React responsive, and make sure just I went and add it real quick. Just submit it, and you are good to go. So I already did that. I already installed it. So I don't need anything more than that. So now we can just toggle between both of these components depending on the actual media query or the screen size that is currently displaying our web page. But before doing any further, let me just go and refactor this code and make it look a little bit prettier, because right now it's a complete mess. So what I can do, I can I think I can copy this. Yeah, real quick. I can go into the src and create a new component. So sorry for this. So src, I can do or containers. I can create a folder called containers for holding our web pages. And here I can create another folder which is called homepage. So inside of that, I can have an index.js, okay. So this one, we can import React into it. And this one is going to represent, well, I think, yeah, it's not the best way to go with this, because we've got different, designs for each, desktop, tablet, and mobile. So how to approach this? The best approach is we can go through this by creating a desktop.jsx, and also we can create another file, mobile.jsx. And each one of these files has a different component that represents that, because Anima has got that, so we've got to work around this with this particular workaround, of course. So here I can import React from React and I can export a function. Well, I can name it home page mobile. Okay, I don't need any props or something. And yeah, so this is actually the mobile, and here we got the desktop. Let's do the same thing again. So export again a function which is homepage desktop real quick. And for that particular case, we're going to return our components that we've just copied. So yeah, just return all of that and everything will be working fine. So I don't know what is this issue here. Yeah, it has, okay, I don't need that anyway. Well, pretty much I do, but let me just, okay, to have things working perfectly, let me just copy that, because this is actually the calling. Once we call the components and try to render it out, we don't need this, we only need the implementation for now. So I can have this here. So we got already the return statements. I'm already exporting that. So let me see. Seems like definitely there is something wrong with it at some point. I don't know. Okay, didn't copy it right. Okay, so expected. Yeah, there we go. So this is actually just like a simple formatting issue. And yeah, so we got the X1 homepage, which I don't need yet. I need desktop, okay. Or homepage desktop. So this is actually the components for our desktop homepage. And also for the style, we need the same thing going on here. So let me just go back into the app.js. And here for the rendering, what we're going to be rendering is, you know, this desktop or homepage desktop, and copy all the attributes. So we can have all of this in here. So you need these attributes, otherwise you won't be able to render it right with the right data. And make sure to here include like homepage desktop. Where is that? I'm not even exporting this, so let me just export it. Okay, homepage desktop. And let's go and import it real quick so we can go inside of containers, and we can go homepage, and we can go desktop. Okay, cool. Right. Now for this CSS style, but right here, we've got to copy this. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just gonna completely get rid of it. And go to the home page, create a new file. I'm going to name it like desktop style.css. So this is actually specifically for the desktop, and paste the same design because I've copied the CSS code from there. And yeah, hallelujah. Let's just import the style here. So it's called desktop style CSS. And yes, it should do the job. Let me just double check this, but just copy pasting. Some paranoia, of course. And yeah, hallelujah. Now it should work pretty much fine. If you go back, so we got app does not exist. It has no default exports. So let me just do like export default application. Just fix the issue real quick. Now if you go back into the React application, we still got our design. So let me just see. There you go. So if we refresh it, we got the same design for the desktop design. No changes whatsoever. So yeah, we got no issues so far. Now let's just introduce the mobile design that you've got from here. So real quick, let me just copy this. Okay, where is this? So we got this is actually the X homepage. Where is that? Yeah, you've got like a lot of code to copy. So I think by far this has been doing good. Okay, so we can copy this into mobile.jsx and just return this. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, we copied all of that. We don't actually need this, or do we? Let me just okay, I'm gonna copy this I'm just gonna get rid of that. I have the export and everything. And just one thing, let's just remove the curly brace at the end. Okay. Alright, cool. Now we got here, and also we have to include the style as well for it. So create a new file, mobile style.scss. And for that particular case, we've got the full style in here. So let me just copy the style and just paste it right here. And make sure to include it as well. Otherwise it won't work. So mobile style CSS, and last but not least we have to call that, which means as we did with the desktop in here, so we have to call it with the right data, with the right props in order to make sure it works fine. So for that particular case, I'm just gonna copy the code. Where is this? Okay. Yeah, it's quite messy when you're trying to copy a code. It just like a little bit not really that great. So go all the way up. There you go, got return x1 homepage, and yeah, voila. So here we got both of these, and of course here we can't render both of these unless we decide, like, if it is currently being displayed on a desktop screen, like a really large screen, we can display the desktop components. Otherwise, just render out the mobile components or the tablet or whatsoever. So as I did before in this particular case, let me just let's just skip that. And we already installed React Responsive, so we can use this React Responsive to pretty much grab if it is currently displayed in mobile or desktop using CSS Media Queries. So we can grab this. Let me just import from React Responsive. So use Media Query, and this is actually a hook. So from React Responsive, and there you go. And here we can do is mobile. So use Media Query, and this one can take a query throughout an object. So this is definitely a media query or a CSS media query, and I already just prepared that just real quick. So I got a file here called responsive.js, and this has just like some standard sizes of different screens from mobile, tablet, and desktop. And also we got some simple CSS media query. So we got here like mobile query, has a maximum width of like a mobile like 468 pixels, and we got a tablet query as well with a minimum width of a mobile and a maximum width of the tablets, and just including pixels and so on and so forth. So it's pretty simple in here. We just included this particular file for just like making things go as fast as possible without any issues. And yeah, so there you go. We got the app.jsx in here, and we can include this query right over here. So just include media queries and say dot where is mobile query. Cool. Now if we also need to check is desktop, use media query media queries again, and yeah, we can do the desktop. Super cool. Now we got both of these, and both are booleans. And if one of these booleans actually just changes, for example, we change the size of the browser at some point, the full application is going to be like re-rendered, which means it's going to allow us to render everything from scratch using these media queries or these booleans. Now here we can do just a simple if-else statement. So if it is actually a mobile, all we've got to do is simply return the components you've got. For some reason, this files has some like weird termination, so just fix the file real quick, fix that again, and voila. So I think, where is that? Just include that here, and it should do the job. So if it is a mobile, we return the mobile component. Otherwise, so just say else. I don't know, some reason there's an issue. So it's called x1 homepage is not defined. Yeah, definitely. Because here we're gonna do homepage. So I think I haven't like, yeah, I still haven't renamed this. So I'm just gonna do, just remove the x1 and everything should be working fine. Super cool. Also, let's go ahead and import this real quick. So using homepage from containers homepage, and we can do mobile. Cool. Now I can copy this, paste it right here, and it should do the job. So if we go back right to the else statement, let me just check out this. And yeah, just for some reason, VS Code has a buggy thing that says there is an error while there's none. But yeah, anyways, it just fixed that real quick. And there you go. So we got both in here. If you like refine this mobile, render the mobile components, otherwise render the desktop components. And of course, you can also include the tablet component here, doing the same thing in here. There aren't any issues. Now here we got the desktop, and as you can see, it's not fully desktop because it has only a size of like 1440 pixels. Well, my screen currently I'm recording on 1980 pixels. So yeah, you got the point. So there's actually some differences. So yeah, you can pretty much add more design and you can just make it bigger on terms of the width, but that is not a programmatic thing. Now if we try to go with the responsiveness real quick, as clearly see in here, the responsiveness works pretty fine. So clearly see we got everything, and now we got the mobile view. If you go back here, so this is pretty much the same thing as the mobile view as it looks on Anima or either on Figma and your prototypes and everything. So yeah, it's identical and it looks absolutely the same thing. So without any issues, so you got everything, all the images, the footer designed, just pretty much everything working absolutely fine off your code. So yeah, pretty well made up from pretty much the Anima. And it just like makes us generate both of these components real quick. So now this is definitely not the best solution. You can go with it, just copy pasting all of this code. What you can do, of course, you can go ahead and copy code and just copy the generated code from Anima in here. So you can, of course, get access to it because it is being such a huge help to us as a developers. But what you can do, of course, you can copy that and you can just add some, I don't know, maintainable, just kind of like, I don't know, a feeder into it. So you can just make it a little bit more readable, just maintain it, just try to refactor it a little bit, put it on different components and try to fix the style a little bit. Of course, just manipulate it from here and there in order to get the best out of it. Then of course, you can just use it the same way as we did in here. Otherwise, if you just like want a speed up project and you just like want to instantly convert design into code in just like no matter time, like in an hour or two, you can go with this way, and if clearly see, it works absolutely amazing without any issues. Of course, I'm not going to just go through all the designs in here. You can, of course, have full access to this design, and you can play with it if you want, and you can just like have it absolutely as you want it to be. But this is pretty much the same way to work with different designs from desktop to mobile to tablets and vice versa. So all of these are actually working fine. Now, the other point I want to speak about is actually if you want to link all of these pages, like you want to just move from one page to another, you can use pretty much React Router, and it does the job perfectly. So you can use React Router, introduce multiple pages, and you can route from one page, like the home page / and then you can go to like / checkout and / cards and so on and so forth. So you can have a lot of a plethora of possibilities to go through from this application perspective. So I just want to show you this, and how you can go through all this from just like generating different codes, from like different responsive code, and how you can play with prototypes and stuff like that. And of course, you can have full access to all the different pages you've got. So yeah, there's no exceptions. The page you export from Figma, you get on Anima, and you've got the full access to them. It's clearly seen here. So there is definitely no issues whatsoever. So you can have absolutely full access, and you can just work with them, and you can manipulate them as you want. But yeah, so this is actually the video tutorial. I just want to show you how you can go ahead and design or move from design real quick to code in no time. So clearly seen here, we created a responsive design just like from a Figma design into this code. It's just like no time. I just like spent absolutely no time, rather than just explaining how the concept works into working into this website. So you can add definitely more pages, and you can add more responsive designs to it. to make it the way you would like to be. So anyways guys, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video tutorial, give us a thumbs up. Why not subscribe? Just because we've got different video tutorials coming up, and they are all hard, like design and different React tutorials on front end and back end and stuff like that. So make sure to press that red button, and yeah, we will all be very happy. So thank you guys for watching this before. Hope you guys enjoyed, and catch you all in the next ones.